congratulations, Ken Allwine. It's been a long time, right? Power supplies, 25 years for Quint Power. And it's interesting to see, this 40 amp device here again, the original green side plates and the original Quint.
Yeah, it's quite surprising how long Quint has been around. I mean, 25 years old now this year. And the fact that we found this one here in Harrisburg is awesome, because we can actually see how things have changed over the last 25 years. And Arnold, you really started this back in 1998-ish. Where did the Quint name even come from?
So 1996, the very year we started building Bad Pyrmont, we needed 5 power supplies for the automation product line. And we needed a power supply for the control cabinet. We needed a power supply for the junction boxes. So we needed a 1, a 2.5, a 5, a 10, and a 20. We had 5 power supplies. We had Quint. And that was the name given to the portfolio right there and then. Kind of a team effort. And that was actually how the product portfolio name started. And we had a very interesting conversation with Germany too at the time, because Germany insisted on having a 120 volt AC and a 240 volt AC. And you were involved in all those discussions. We had a lot of salespeople out there saying, this ain't gonna work. Customers want a universal input. And ta-da! That was when you got involved. And of course, that's that product right there on the right.
Yeah, and when you released this, or when we released, or whatever you want to say there, when this came to fruition, did you ever think that this product line was ever going to hit $1 million?
No. It was just less, sales were just less than $1 million in 98. And what was amazing then is every successive year we added $1 million as the product grew. One of the most amazing stories I remember is we also had to make this with black side plates. Because Kevin Zach found a brand label customer in the Carolinas called Acme Electric. And when the Germans heard about that, they were like, Acme Electric? There's this cartoon with Speedy the Roadrunner, you know, whatever he was, beep beep. And it's like, there's a company in the US called Acme? We're like, yep, there is. And so we brand labeled it, black Acme labeling on the front, black side plates, black connectors. And yeah, Kevin Zach was actually our first brand label salesperson to sell it out there to the marketplace.
And shortly after that is when Generation 2 came out.
Yes, and we had a universal input, finally.
Finally. Because I remember with this, you had the 2 different versions for 120, 230, and then the non/F, and then the /F for the filtering.
The filtering, correct.
So when we moved to this, it took all that away.
Correct. And what was, I think, most impressive was the fact that we were keeping the same form factor. The product was now really starting to get its own kind of brand and look and feel to it, and customers ran with it. And you think about it, we were looking at just automation as a market. Interestingly enough, the power supplies were an accessory to automation until that time. It wasn't even its own, shall we say, product line. And that then changed too, you know, with times that you were then involved.
It was just a piece of the interface puzzle.
Correct.
And then in 2002, when this came out, that's when everything started to change from there.
Correct.
It became its own product line.
Yep.
And like you said earlier, every year it started to add $1 million to the portfolio. Yeah, it's been amazing to see what has happened. You know, when we started with the Generation 1, it was just slow. It was just a couple products. We hit the Generation 2, things just started to accelerate at an incredible pace.
Correct.
If you look at the rate of innovation that we had from product perspective of what we could do, what we started to expand on. Like you said, we only started with 5 different versions of this.
Yes.
This went to those 5 versions, and then went to the 3-phase versions, and then the different voltages.
Yes.
We had the power boost. All those things started being built into these different products.
Right.
And then you could see the ramp up of sales just go faster and faster and faster.
So it went like a hockey stick too. I mean, it was kind of steady, and then it just really got its
right, because under this generation is when some of those other products started to show up that were still, they weren't Quint power supplies, but they were still in the Quint family. So like the redundancy modules, the newest UPS products that were released in 2004. I remember that down in Houston. So it's just started to expand the product offering just under the Quint family. And so, like you said, that hockey stick effect kind of took off.
It just took off.
And the sales have been ridiculous since this. And that this is what helped spin off all those other products too that we have in the power supply family, like the Step. The first Uno, the little green brick. And then Trio showed up. And then Uno. So all these other products started to spin off from this generation, and then the following generation, which is the well-known Quint SFB. That has, again, it was another click up in that hockey stick that made the acceleration even faster. That, you know, and things kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So, I mean, you could see what happened from here to here, the size difference. And
Yes.
then
And then that.
that happened
Yep.
from generation 2 to generation 3.
Correct.
So things just started going
So we
from
kept
size.
we kept just making it smaller and smaller. The technology got better, the semiconductors got better, the performance class got better, the frequencies increased, right? So there's a lot of technology inside that package that made this really, shall we say, innovative for its time. Because I think too the transition from '98, when you talk about launching Quint, is that we started off trying to sell linear regulated power supplies, and selling a switch mode power supply was really a technical challenge for some people.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal because it was a case of, well, this is more expensive, but yes, it's lighter, and oh, it's smaller. But if you talk about what Quint has done now, what amazes me, like you said, we've got UPS, we've got battery backup, we've got redundancy, we've run some really big projects. And the most exciting thing too, we were just mentioning, there are still these old Quint 1s in service.
Yeah.
All right?
It's
I mean, don't
every
ask
once
us
in a
about
while-
mean time between failure.
Yeah,
right?
every once in a while, I will get people saying, "Well, is there a replacement for this
Yeah.
product?" And I get this picture of a little 2.5 amp power supply with the green
Yes.
side plates.
Yes.
And that's still running
Yes.
25 years later.
Correct.
So it's amazing. It
Yes.
just attests to the quality that has
Correct.
always been in the Quint family.
Yeah.
So then when it went to the Quint 4,
Yes. It got
these
even
guys
smaller.
here, it got even smaller, and then the capabilities and everything that it could do just went up
Yes.
from the diagnostics and additional power boost features and benefits. So as we went through this whole process here of changing from generation to generation to generation, it's just amazing to see what has happened in technology. I
Yes.
mean, in 2014, 2017 timeframe, Power Supplies became its own company.
Correct.
So it's Power Supplies.
And it got its own building.
Yeah, in Paderborn.
In Paderborn.
So we now have our own company that has over 100, I think it's 140 now,
Yep.
employees just for power supplies.
For this product line.
About the same time frame, 2017, Phoenix Contact USA became the world's largest power supply subsidiary, and we've
Within
pretty
the
much
Phoenix
held
Group.
that title ever since.
Correct.
So it's amazing to see that we've come from a series of just 5 products back in 1998 to having well over 130 part numbers in our portfolio and hitting 50 million plus 25 years
the overall
later.
product line.
So it's amazing to see what has happened in the last 25 years of this.
And talk about the fact that we've been very fortunate. We have a really great sales team that's actually been able to take this to market and really do wonders with it.
And because of that success of the
Yes.
sales team, Quint is in a very unique position because the name Quint
Yes.
is like Kleenex.
Yes.
You know what tissues are, but
Correct.
you ask for a Kleenex.
Yes.
When you're asking for a power supply, you ask for a
for a
Quint.
Quint.
You
Yes.
don't ask for a power supply or a Phoenix Contact power supply.
Correct.
Everybody knows these by Quint.
Yes. There's a lot more prospects, I think, for the product. Also in the other arena. We've talked about power supplies up until now inside the control cabinet, and now we're starting to do them outside.
Right. This
So
is not
this
the
hockey
end.
stick is not yet completed. I think
This is definitely not the end
It's
of the
way
story
up.
of Quint. We have the Quint 4 right now. It's been out for a few years.
Yes.
There's more stuff coming.
Yes.
I'm not going to say anything about that today,
Hey.
but there's a lot more coming and a lot more opportunity for us
Correct.
to expand beyond just the power supply.
Yes. Fantastic.
So it's been a fun 25, well for me it's been 21 years.
21 years.
So it's been a fun story to see what has happened here.
Yeah, and also, like I said, the UL will hold us up for 2 years, but at least we got to catch up and take on the others. So
Yeah.
that's always a good thing. So yes, congratulations to Quint Power Supply, and
Yes.
congratulations to you and the team, Ken.
Thanks and
And
happy
all the very
birthday
best.
to Quint.
And happy birthday, Quint.